Latest evidence confirms that famine is imminent in the northern governorates of Gaza and is expected to become manifest from mid-March to May this year. The analysis says the famine threshold for acute food insecurity had already been far exceeded, and the steeply increasing trend in malnutrition data indicated that it is highly likely that the famine threshold for acute malnutrition had also been exceeded.
More than half of all Palestinians in Gaza, 1.1 million people, have completely exhausted their food supplies and are facing catastrophic hunger, according to the report. Palestinians in Gaza are enduring horrifying levels of hunger and suffering. This is the highest number of people facing catastrophic hunger ever recorded by the Integrated Food Security Classification System, anywhere, anytime.
The analysis further predicts that from mid-March to mid-July, the most likely scenario, were there to be an escalation in fighting, including in Rafah in the south, that half the population, or some 1.1 million people in Gaza, were expected to face catastrophic levels of acute food insecurity, the most severe level, which is IPC Phase 5. This represents an increase of 530,000 people since the last analysis was completed in December.
Entirely man-made disaster, and the report makes clear that it can be halted. Today's report is Exhibit A for the need for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. I call on the Israeli authorities to ensure complete and unfettered access for humanitarian goods throughout Gaza, and for the international community to fully support our humanitarian efforts. We must act now to prevent the unthinkable, the unacceptable, and the unjustifiable.
The analysis points to extremely limited humanitarian access to and within the Gaza Strip that continues to impede the safe and equitable delivery of life-saving humanitarian assistance, critical to famine prevention and response.
The latest findings paint an extremely concerning situation. And when we think about the north of Gaza, where the situation is the most precarious, the latest analysis tells us that famine is imminent in the period between now and May in the north of Gaza. That means when we look at the trajectory of food security and nutrition statistics, we're facing a catastrophic situation in technical terms. In the south of Gaza, the situation has also worsened, and there we maintain the projection of famine likely,
with concern reverberating around the world.
Because this famine is not a natural disaster. It's not a flood, it's not an earthquake. It's entirely man-made. By whom? Let's dare to say it. By whom? By the one that prevents humanitarian support entering into Gaza. By the lack of access. By the acute insecurity inside Gaza. I'm coming from Washington, and I dare to say, well, yes, Israel is provoking famine.
The report says virtually all households are skipping meals every day, and adults are reducing their intake so that children can eat. Says that continued conflict and the near-complete lack of access to the northern governorates in Gaza for humanitarian organizations and commercial trucks was likely to compound heightened vulnerabilities and already extremely limited food availability and access. Assets and infrastructure necessary for food production and distribution have all been destroyed or severely damaged, extremely limiting further the functionality of the entire food system in the entire Gaza Strip. Sherwin Bryce, SABC News, New York.